if you want to grow sweet potatoes, you need to start by growing your own sweet potato slips. I prefer to grow my own slips rather than buy them from a supplier for a few reasons. One, because I can get a better variety, and the second reason is you just get better quality, more vibrant, healthy slips like this. When you buy from a supplier online, obviously it's got to be transported and posted out to you, and by the time you get to them, you get some very sad looking slips and need reinvigorating, which isn't the same as just having vibrant ones from the beginning. All you need to do is source your sweet potatoes and get some trays like this. I've got a variation of trays here to show you that you can do it in all shapes and sizes really, and the key thing is different depths as well. As you can see, you can grow slips from even a very shallow tray like this, and the idea is to basically just partially submerge the sweet potato in compost. So you want to fill the tray with compost, create a little groove and sit that potato in so it's half exposed, because that is where the slips will start to grow. And you just want to put them in a warmish, humid place if possible, because that's where they will naturally sprout the fastest. And to increase the speed of the germination, you actually can do a trick where you cover the sweet potato tray just to lock in that humidity to speed up the process even more. And then eventually you'll get some sprouts showing up like this, which is just a little bud on the top of the potato, and after a few weeks it'll start to turn into that. And then after about a month or two, just to give you an idea, this was started in the 1st of March and it's now the 1st of May, so this has been 2 months of growth. So at this point now, when they're about 6 inches long and they've got quite a few leaves on each shoot, this is where you can start thinking about preparing them. And you'll now need something like this with some water and some pruners, or you can actually plant straight in the garden, but I prefer to do this method just to get some roots on these, but I'll show you that now. So what we're looking for is basically a vine that is about 6 to 8 inches long with a few side branches. I like to cut it not actually at the base of the sweet potato, because I want to give it a chance to regrow more slips from that same cutting spot. So this is the kind of thing we're looking for. There are lots of ways of actually doing this. You can actually grow vines, sweet potatoes, from just one shoot like that there. But I like to have it this way, have this at the top, and what I want to do is take off a couple of the side leaves like this. And the reason for that is this is all going to be underwater, and roots will actually grow out of each V-shaped point here, basically where the stem meets the main vine. And what you want to do is just drop that in some water, and after about a week that should start to root and be ready to go out in the garden. It's quite good to think really that all these sweet potatoes, well, we're not seeing the harvest yet, but how many sweet potatoes you can grow from growing your own slips. And just to give you an idea as well, you can grow probably, I'd say, 20 to 50 slips per sweet potato, and if you think about that, each one of them slips is going to produce probably nearly a kilogram of sweet potatoes if they're grown well. That is a lot of sweet potatoes. So it's been about a week since I took these slips off the potatoes, and I've put them in water, and you can see after about a week they've developed some good roots, and this is a really good time to now plant them out in the garden so they can get growing for the summer. So all you need to do really is prepare some ground, clear some space, get rid of any debris and any snake skins that you find, just take them out because they will affect the growth of the potatoes. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be planting one slip about every 30 centimetres, and then in between each row about 2 feet. So you can actually fill quite a large area with relatively few slips, because as you might be aware, when sweet potatoes grow they do create a big sprawling vine cover, and they need enough space to grow. That's why you give them a bit more space. So what I'd recommend doing first is actually drawing a line in the soil so you can see exactly what space you've got to work with, and laying out the slips where you're going to plant them before you plant your first one. Because if you start planting from the very first one, you'll end up having a very uneven bed, and you might have too few slips to fill your space. So what we're doing is just laying them out like this on the rows before we start planting. You want to have the roots obviously underneath the soil, so it's the bottom 2 to 3 nodes beneath the soil, and then we just want the tops basically sticking out. And if you have to go very deep because you have a very long slip, you can actually plant at a slight angle, at a 45 degree angle, in the rows, but it's just very straightforward. Do a little hole if it's not deep enough, put it in the soil like that, and just cover it back around to tops. And then from there you'll want to get some mulch for around the sides to help to retain the water in the soil for much longer. So any straw, hay, leaf mulch, wood chips, anything you can get hold of, and then water it in, because then that's basically making sure there's no air gaps between the roots and the soil, and it's all nicely ready to grow. The last thing to make sure you do after you've planted your sweet potatoes is to jot down which variety you've planted where, and then also when you planted them. So it's very important to have this log really of when you've planted your sweet potato slips out, so for future years you know exactly when it's a perfect time to start preparing your sweet potato slips and when to plant them out. Because it's never that easy to compare to other places online, because every person has their own unique set of conditions, local climates that all affect the planting dates. So yeah, it's always good to have your own reliable information so you can refine your planting dates for future years.